that shit ain't no average. Burn live, marijuanically keeping you connected, hashtagging these red eyes, changing the viewers eye red, keeping underage, smoking on social media. Okay, I was just making sure I sounded pretty good or sounded story. So let me start all over. Burn live, marijuana keeping y'all connected, hashtagging these red eyes, changing the viewers eye red, keeping underage, smoking off social media, killing y'all selves, killing myself for your entertainment. Sitting here with friends and families, start a cannabisation. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome to another show. Today, as you see, we got a lot to talk about here. Jimmy Butler had a press day, Trump in court. I got a special long one that's probably gonna take majority of the time once we get to it. Saving our kids. The House Speaker Representatives gets voted out today. And then last but least, hopefully if we got time, I want to talk about people that make diss songs about the president. If they doing it for clout, if they doing it for, I mean, what is the reason behind people making songs about presidents? You know what I'm saying? Even though it's freedom of speech, I would give all props and I think it's wonderful. I think people should be able to express themselves however they feel necessary. I'm not hating on that. It's just weird when there are people out there who claims that they're not Democrat, they're not Republican, they're not neither or, but then you hear a song and they're sneak dissing on presidents, meaning that they feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm not here to point the finger at somebody or say that a person is wrong for doing it or right for doing it. I just believe that it is weird. I think it's a little off, but I think it's a little uh disturbing. I would like to use. I think it's a little disturbing when people do that, especially when they claim on one side of stuff. But it is what it is. People have their freedom of choice. I just want to call you out on BS if it's truly bullshit. I mean, if you're making a song just for so called clout and stuff like that, then that's. But in further news, in the first subject we're going to talk about is what has hit the wave. I have a friend. Matter of fact, let me share this out to my friend real quick. Let her know that's what I'm finna talk about right now because I had a good friend that wanted to make sure that I talk about Jimmy Butler. She like, are you gonna talk about Jimmy? Yes, I am. I'm finna talk about Jimmy. Okay, y'all. So it is what you would call is what you call press week, where NBA players sit down with press conferences, people, and they sit there and they give out interviews. So Jimmy Butler was supposed to get Damian Lillard this year. It was supposed to be one of the best trades. It took 3 months, never did go through. Um, Damian Lillard actually went to Milwaukee Bucks. So okay, it's press day, media day, as you see, media day, and Jimmy Butler comes out in the most outrageous uniform. Well, hairdo. I think it's more of the hairdo. Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. There we go. This is this look. You see my boy? When you see this hairdo, you wonder why my boy jumped up and down. Look at this. What in the flying seahorses is this? Anybody look, everybody has the right to freedom of whatever you want to do, but this
Jimmy, last
is
year you came out with the
is
brand
is
new
the throw off.
dreads. What's this?
I had dreads last year.
You I'm one with my emotions. So this is what you get.
One with your emotion.
Jimmy, what are your emotions heading into this season after going through what you guys went through in the finals, the whole postseason run? Give me your thoughts.
It's a new year, new season. We came up short. I didn't do my job. We didn't do our job as a whole last year. It's a new season. I'm excited for it. We'll see y'all in the finals in June.
Hey Jimmy, I hope you had a good summer. Also, I think there's a growing discontent among fans, especially after falling short on a couple of potential additions to the roster. And somehow, I think the overwhelming feeling is that they're wasting your prime. Do you feel like the team has done enough to build a team that's a championship contender around you?
Yeah, we straight. Like I always say, I know what I'm capable of. I know what my guys are capable of. So we'll continue to play basketball as a unit.
So I got a good friend. I'm gonna continue this and keep playing it like this because it's not that loud. I can talk over it. But my good friend or my engineer said that this is more like of trolling. Like he's getting trolled. So if this was just to get people to pay attention more to the Miami Heat than other teams, because the biggest talk in NBA is LeBron's 21st season, age 38. Some people think that he's taking enhanced drugs or what is it? Steroids. Some people think he's taking steroids. There is an allegation of one of the trainers that trained LeBron pursuing our people with steroids. And it's interesting to think that, you know what I'm saying, with all this hype around LeBron James that's going on, that Jimmy Butler, like, you know what, I got something for that ass. I'm finna come out here and look like Prince Dolly Cognon like this right here, and then we got what we're going on here. Y'all, I hope y'all smoking on some good weed, taking a dab, hitting your bunks, smoking. If you're not smoking, please put up in the message. Please put up in the message that you're not smoking, so I can come hook you up. I can come help you out. This is strange. Anybody believe this is not strange? This is just a publicity stunt. Is it a good publicity stunt?
Jimmy,
Is it worth it?
Is it just about the championship?
Yeah, it's always been about a championship.
Like he said, is it all about championship? It's about championship. What is it about right now? Like he said, he's one with his emotions. So basically, I feel like he's like expressing himself, but he wants to test the water to see if anybody would call him out. And then if he call you out, then he's got some good explanation that's going on to let you know what's going on. If that's the case, if that's what's really going on, I wanted it to work. I'm not sure that it worked. There are reactions. There are reactions. Hold on, let's pause for a second. Let's get some reactions.
This is how much money YouTube has been paying me for a brand new.
Let's get some reactions to how people thought about when they seen this.
Taking a toll on Jimmy Buckets after Lillard was traded for Portland to Milwaukee. Here's how Jimmy showed up to the Heat's media day. Jimmy, how you feeling?
Yeah. Laugh it up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, laugh it up is the hint of crack the jokes. I need people to let me know what's going on. Well, not necessarily let me know what's going on, but hey, I'm here to make fun of a situation, and there we go. Let's take it over from here real quick.
Nah. I'm emo. Leave me alone.
All right, so Stephen A., he came in as emo Jimmy. If you saw the full outfit, he had like a long black leather coat, black combat boots, all of that. But as a Knicks fan, can you relate? This guy's out here trying to win a chip. Dame wants to come to Miami, and where is he? Milwaukee. So this is how he's feeling.
Look at that facial expression.
Oh my God. I mean, what the hell is that show on Showtime? P something. What's the name of that show?
I don't have
What's
to
the name of that show? Huh? P Valley with I mean, I know that's not Jimmy, but my point is that's the look. I don't know about all that. I will say this. I respect the fact that he's a bit perturbed, to say the least, because they got Miami. You ain't going back to the finals with the crew that you got with Milwaukee and Boston, Boston is not a favorite in the East. You ain't going to the finals with them two in your way. I can tell you that much. That's probably what I picked up.
Stephen A., not only did he not get Dame, but he strengthened Boston because in Milwaukee trading for Dame, they shipped out True Holiday, who then in turn lands in Boston. So now you got.
Now, hey, I had a person that yelled at me and said that Holiday is not a good person. Now, if you think Holiday not a good person, I think that you tripping.
And Holiday can lock it down. You got
I feel what he's saying right here, where I think Holiday should have got traded to a good team, but then he got traded to a good team. He got traded to Boston, so.
Because Dame Lillard wanted to come there, and he's seemingly like.
Okay, y'all. If he got mad, okay, I'm with you if he's mad. But that expression right there, this right here is not expressing mad to me. Hey, I could be wrong. But that is not expressing mad to me. That expressing that you got a little bit of that Dennis Rodman juice. Okay? Hey. Don't get mad at me. I'm just speaking. You know, this is just Murray Wangley keeping us together. But I am under the influence that, yes, my boy done got a little bit of that not Deion Sanders, but that Dennis Rodman juice. You know, he sipping on the Kool-Aid and found out it's a little too much sugar. I mean, if you're depressed and mad because you didn't get nobody, and then yet again your team didn't do nothing over the offseason to strengthen your team, to make you a better team, to compete for the new season. Okay.
Very fitting. He should feel emotional about it. He should feel that he's doing his best.
Jimmy Butler's a good dude, but that particular look,
yeah.
I can't.
By the way,
hold on.
I gotta say one other thing. By the way, P Valley, I don't know that show either. Shannon, so many people hit me up after you saying you wanted to be on Naked Afraid, and they thought I was lying, that I didn't know what Naked and Afraid is. But it's on HBO, and I don't have HBO.
Well,
what?
Stop being cheap.
Stop being cheap.
Guys, I already pay for Hulu.
So we're going to sit on national television. You're the host of a national television show. You're going to sit up here and sit up there. You can't afford HBO.
Hey, this is changing the subject off of Jimmy real quick, and I'm glad they did this. This is why I advocate and let people know and say these quotes. When you're looking at that woman, or that woman looking at you, and she makes more money than you, she's not gonna spend her money on you. Molly makes good money, 6 figures, y'all, 6 figures she makes, and she don't want to spend money on HBO because she pay for Hulu. Who watches Hulu?
For Netflix, I pay for YouTube TV. Now I have to pay for Showtime.
This is your
HBO?
most embarrassing moment ever. National
Molly,
TV host,
don't be cheap to yourself,
television
Molly.
host, and she can't afford HBO.
Be as cheap as you want to. Don't be cheap to yourself, Molly. Don't do that. That's very unbecoming.
Interesting, bro. Jimmy got pulling out people's cheap card. Hey, you know what? I don't even know what to say to that. Jimmy's pulling out people's cheap card. Okay? Now, if you feel some type of way about Jimmy and stuff like that, hey, it is what it is. We have no room to hate. We not getting paid what he's getting paid. We don't have to worry about getting on that basketball court and dealing with all that stuff right there. Okay? Okay. I think we talked about that good enough. I don't know about y'all. All right. Turning our attention to more so-called, in my eyes, a little bit serious matters of Trump was in court. Trump is finally in court. Oh my God, you know these news coverage people can't wait to break down Trump is in court. Man, I listen. I'm ready to start putting up people's tweets and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not famous, I'm not big like that, but man, some of y'all is really out there bugging with seeing this and wanting this man to go to jail. It's amazing.
Donald
It's
Trump's
beautiful.
civil fraud trial. The judge just made clear what can and cannot be discussed and what has already been determined. Namely, this judge made clear that he's already ruled that Trump committed fraud, and he's sort of done listening to arguments about that. CNN's Brent Gingras live outside the courthouse in downtown Manhattan with the very latest. Brent.
Yeah, John, I mean, we're on day 2 of the civil trial, which is expected all the way to last until just before Christmas. And like you just said, the judge going onto the bench this morning saying he fully expect defense attorneys to appeal this trial, and also saying that this trial is not an opportunity to mitigate what I've already decided, referencing that decision he made last week.
Is that fair? Is that legally right? Hold on, that's just. Is that legally right that this man is in court and a judge, way before coming to court and doing what he had to do, had already made his decision up? Already knew, already wanted to know, already thought about, had a discussion, cup of coffee, teammates, friends, relatives. Everybody know how he thinks. How the judge thinks, right? So it's like, hey, what am I going to court for? And then, hold on, y'all. They just said that this is supposed to last until when? Christmas. So a judge is supposed to sit up here, already know how he is ruling all the way till Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, what buffoonery are we going through? What democracy are we living in? Why is my boy in court? It's the biggest question. Why is he in court? What is going on? I mean, we really need to. I know we don't really need to decipher, but the point is, why are we even dealing with this court like this if my boys have already decided how he's going to be? It kind of blows my mind. Kind of blows my mind. Sorry for that. Had to spark up the weed. It kind of blows my mind that the fact that you already know what type of decision you're going to make. Now, I don't watch a couple of shows where people go out and they do this thing called Change My Mind, where they sit, have debates with people who are supposed to come up with a good argument to make me realize that, hey, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't see this situation from that angle. For an example, when I went live 2 to 3 days ago, and the guy said January 6th, and the definition of Trump storming the White House, or asking people to storm the White House, however you want to look at it. Looking at that situation right there has made me understand a little bit more of how some people look at Trump and like he committed a crime. Okay. Now I'm admitting that yes, I got informed on something. So therefore, it's a little bit clearer why people think the way they think. Do I think that he's still guilty? No, I don't think he's guilty, because there are other information that presented itself that people are not looking at. Okay. People hate on people for certain reasons, whatever reason that is that you hate or dislike or not want to be in tune with a person is okay. But when you have so much hatred, and Trump just puts out these facts. And to a lot of people, they sound like mumbo jumbo. But then I have to look up things that Trump says too. Don't think that Trump can just say things and I'm just going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, Trump was right. Yes, I go look it up too. So when we go look up these reports and we see what has happening or what's going on, it's like, okay, this is what's going on. This is the probability. This is the assumption. This is the facts. And then I go look for the Democratic side of the facts of the same situation. And it seems like once, and this is just me, my opinion, but I should say facts when I back this up. When you go find facts on what is true about what they say about Donald Trump and you be like, hey, you guys were wrong, it seems like the Democrats always be pushing a different agenda, something else that they're working on, something else that they're moving towards for as realizing what they need to do. Don't say it's me. It just be what I see. It be what I see. I see that the facts are facts. Now, this case right here is not in his favor. We know that. Y'all know that. We all know that. I'm not finna play with nobody and pretend like it is. This right here is not in his favor because the judge has already made his decision.
Trump and his adult sons and the Trump organization liable for fraud. So we'll see how this continues. But on the stand right now, we are hearing more testimony from Trump's former accountant, Donald Bender, talking about the nitty gritty of those financial statements, how property valuations were figured out, who figured them out, who signed off on them, all of those details. And we'll continue to hear from the defense, of course, who is fighting for the fact that there was no intent, there was no fraud when preparing financial statements and making valuations of properties. And their point, they say, there was no victims in this case. So that is the arguments that we'll continue to see echo throughout this long civil trial. Inside the courtroom, I can tell you that the former president walked in again, did not acknowledge New York Attorney General Letitia James, who's also seated in the courtroom right now. This is right after he made some statements again outside the courtroom about her and about the judge again. And also his son, Eric Trump, is also in the courtroom as well. The question is, how long do all of them, especially the former president, do they plan to stay today? They were here the full day yesterday. That remains to be seen how long he'll stay for this testimony. We also...
If it's me, is it me? Or does it really sound like they're looking for stories they're looking for stories inside the story? Trump in court. That's the main thing. Trump on trial. But not only is Trump on trial, I gotta make sure that he acknowledged this person. Did he look over? He looked over at this other person with a glare, with a stare. How long did he stay? Did he do a rally? Like all these other extra assumptions that has to go with Trump and how y'all really be looking and feeling about the guys. It's amazing. Wow. Dang. Is it really that deep? What am I missing that is so deep? That the trial inside the trial inside the trial inside the case with another story. If Trump tied up his shoes wrong, they're going to talk about it. Like, never in history has a person been under such microscopic scope to be looked at with every single word and verb and text and tweet and Twitter. Everything on his. I don't follow Trump on every social media platform that he bees on. I don't go to every fucking rally. I watch a lot of his rallies. I do. I don't watch every last one of his rallies, but I watch quite a few of his rallies. I do. But this right here set these people up to be some magnificent people that they got put on trial. Then they're going to be innocent. You're giving these people a platform to run for office, run for mayor, do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear the rumors of Michelle Obama coming back soon to try to run for president, which, you know, I always said only way Michelle Obama's running for president, she had to get back into a lawyer. She had to get back into the field and stuff like that, which, you know what I'm saying, nobody has heard anything from her. So I'm just going to keep it real on that situation right there. But you want to think about Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr., you know, these two for sure I know be out there doing things and making an effort to make a good name and doing good things and always doing good deeds. You know, they just little things that I know. If you know anything bad, put down in the comments. Hey, they not all good people, understandable, and they be on some BS. And I would be like, okay, cool. You know, wow. I'm on my Microsoft start thing, bro, and it's like you can just what it says. Barack and Michelle Obama has been married for 31 years. Here's their timeline and relationship. Yet again, what I say, if Michelle wanted you, she needs to be in the news. You don't hear about her, and here I go. Here's a little story. Okay. See, what would be weird is Kamala would be president, and Michelle Obama would be vice VP. If a female becomes president, I don't think she should have a male VP. I think it should be an all female cat. Therefore, there is no excuses on why. No excuses on why that decisions was made and oh a guy made that decision and stuff like that. Little things like that you would hear if it was a VP male. And I'm just putting it out there. If there was a female president, I just think there should be a female VP too. I think that she should have both.
Also want to know how many times he'll actually be back at this courtroom. We know he is eager to testify in his own defense, so we fully expect that to happen. Again, a lot at stake here. We've been talking about it. Kristen Holmes has given great details about what is at stake here, his brand. He is eager to defend it, and as we've mentioned, the state has said in their opening statements, closing it out, saying that they are asking the judge to make sure that the Trumps never do business in New York again. So this is one we'll, of course, continue to closely watch.
Now that the judge has already made clear there was fraud.
Okay. The judge didn't make clear it was fraud. The judge only made clear that he has a decision. That's what I'm talking about. Ah, 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 ah. Dang. Hold on. Hold on. So, remember we was talking about Butler and stuff, y'all. Remember that we was talking about Jimmy Butler, and I brought up LeBron James for in the stuff in a trial like that. So to switch back over real quick, and bring up the Jimmy Butler. I didn't put this in my title, but I didn't forget about this. But this kind of just goes along with what I was talking about earlier. Well, no, this is just something that kind of stunned me on a conversation that I didn't know nothing about. But I'm gonna share with you guys. Also, gonna share another thing that they talked about earlier, that this podcast talked about, which is highly interesting. That I'm definitely needs to be a discussion. I'm gonna definitely talk about that at the top of the hour. When we at least an hour in, I'm gonna get into that. Say with our kids. I'm definitely getting into that.
2 associates named in federal PED investigation story that just recently came out, and it's got a lot of people saying, is LeBron doing GH, his young growth hormone? Is this the Lance Armstrong story that's about to come out, and they're going to strip him of all these different accolades that he has? So let's read it. LeBron James' close associate Ernest Mims, business manager, and David Alexander, trainer, have been named an unredacted federal document related to the biogenesis scandal. However, there is no accusation or evidence of LeBron James using performance enhancement drugs in the reports. The biogenesis scandal previously implicated Major League Baseball players like Ryan Braun and Nelson Cruz, leading to suspensions for 21 players. Ernest Mims was cited for buying controlled substances for personal use, while David Alexander was listed as a Miami-based personal trainer for LeBron James's wife. LeBron James and other athletes were not directly named in the case, and James's representative stated that he had no prior knowledge of his name being referenced in biogenesis investigation. Now, Rob, can you pull up a picture with LeBron James? Let me read that to you. If you found that, let me just read that. A representative for James told ESPN that the Los Angeles Lakers had no knowledge he, his wife, or his associate were even referenced in a biogenesis investigation until approached by the media organization last year. ESPN's request to interview James and Mims were declined after they provided James's camp with applicable information to back up their questioning. It's clear ESPN's reporting on the subject took over a year's worth of research. And while this is first needle moving action involving the biogenesis case in several years, it's surely not going to be the last. Can you find a picture? Just Google, is LeBron James taking PED with his body? Tom, I'm going to go to you first because there's a story of this that came out with Peyton Manning. We had his neck accident. What are your thoughts on this story here?
Before they get into the conversation, we get deep. First of all, let me just say, wow. Out of all people that this is tied to, for it to be tied to LeBron, I bet you it's definitely wild and crazy, and people probably like, no way, they're just trying to tear down a brother. But you know, in this business world where everybody's, you know what I'm saying, doing business, you do business, you business partners, you know what I'm saying, I got you on, we did a lot of business together, then you go off and do your thing, and then things like this happens, things like this pop up, things like this does happen. But not to jump to allegations, not to jump to conclusions, and for some people, and I do mean the average Joe person, especially the black people, don't jump to, oh, they just trying to be racist. Everything's racist. Everything is racist. Don't go there. This is just truly an investigation of things that's going on, things that normally would be happening. If you're doing a lot of business and a little scam come up, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want cheating, but they have a very good discussion about this, and I think this should be thought of or put in the back of some people's minds when, if they ever heard about LeBron James and this actually hit social media and it comes big. If this comes big, I think things that are said here should be in the back of people's mind, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We just don't just say it's LeBron James. Don't say he's doing it like that. Just think about these things should be in the back of your mind when in a discussion.
With LeBron James and Peyton Manning.
Well, look, I mean, there's smoking guns here, but there is a huge economic interest of the NBA not to have not to have your number one star have an issue like this. They saw what happened with A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, and how baseball took such black eyes. So there's a lot of economic interest in the NBA not to have this happen. But the other side of it, there appears to be a playbook here. Because when Peyton Manning hurt his neck, supposedly he was receiving certain substances that came to his wife. And I don't recall seeing Ashley kind of beef up or be bench pressing Honda Civics. And he had a very big medical need, because they were trying to heal the fuse of the vertebrae on his neck, and he was having trouble doing that. And there was certain muscle deterioration that happened as a result of the surgery. And people said, well, if an average individual was using these things, I would be actually prescribing them. Unfortunately, he's an individual who is he makes a living where they have a book that says you can't use these things. So I think Deadspin have it right. You know, they call them WAGs, wives and girlfriends.
Yeah.
They've changed it this morning. They're now PAGs, and it's pharmaceutic girlfriends. So it's a completely different category now. Or your wife is actually, not just supporting your career, she's supporting your career.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You think actually something's going to come out that LeBron's doing PED and he's going to get caught and the story's going to get public? You think they're going to take it to that level like they did with Lance Armstrong? Because, they fully ganged up on Lance to destroy his legacy, right? And that's more of an individual sport.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. And one would say how much money and sponsorship is in cycling, although he probably brought a lot of attention to cycling.
Listen to these points.
The greatest cyclist of all time. Everybody was talking about it. And this is a behemoth of a league franchise. He's a face. This would be a black eye for the NBA, for his legacy, for being the greatest, for being all that. I have a complete different argument for this on what I think when I think about, by the way, did you find a picture of the guy? If you find a picture with LeBron on.
Because, Pat, your argument,
the picture,
they can't.
net, Pat, on your question. Yes, I think this is a smoking gun, but I think there's so much at stake for the NBA that they got to put the smoke out.
Well, zoom in on that. Zoom in on that picture right there. That's with Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, let's just start with the basics. LeBron is an absolute specimen of a human being. He is an absolute beast.
At age of 39, y'all.
Guy was massive.
That's what they're trying to say. Get that concept. Age of 39, you looking like that on the NBA basketball floor.
It might be arguably the greatest physical athlete of all time. Now, do we know if he's actually doing or doing not? We know that he takes very good care of his body. Ironically, he played for the Heat. David Alexander, who is the trainer here, I've known him for years. He married a girl I went to high school with, Natasha. So I know these people. They're around. They're not random people in random basements selling drugs. He's a very famous Miami fitness trainer. He's not some low-key weird dude. So is Randy Mims. I don't know why they called him Ernest Mims, but he goes by Randy. I've seen him a million times in Miami. That's his business manager. Now, if he is doing something, it'd be pretty damn sloppy to put it in your wife's name. You've got literally so many people in your inner circle you're going to do this with. But David Alexander has trained LeBron. He's trained Dwayne Wade. He's trained Chris Paul. He's a G. I'm not saying that there's no there. I'm just saying this isn't the first time we've heard this conversation about LeBron. But at the end of the day, steroids or no steroids, he's still better than you. And he's still better than anybody in the NBA.
But he's getting older. But he's getting older, and to stay on the top, Adam.
Right.
If there's little cheating that you don't see, the stuff that Tom was talking about, like we don't know. But I mean, to stay on top of your game and going up, Pat, what you said, like the amount of money, sponsors, and China
I
is
have a
involved.
whole different thing.
Can I say one thing? And I'll turn it over to you. In basketball, okay, I played basketball. Being big and strong and bulky is not great for athleticism. You want to kind of be long and lean and in shape and have a little bit of muscle.
Yeah, but that's
now,
not.
when it comes to
neither was Lance Armstrong. You're not doing it to be a bodybuilder. It's all because of speedy recovery.
Okay,
is what it's for. Lance Armstrong. You ever seen Lance? Can you put Lance Armstrong's body when he was cycling?
Oh my God,
it's
the
not
veins.
about. It's got nothing to do with. It's about the fact that he's 39 years old, playing at the level that he's playing.
How many games in the season, Pat?
He plays about 70 to 75
That's
games.
a lot
He's
of
not an 82 guy. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying
he doesn't play 82.
But where I was going with it, because when I think of steroids, I think of everything that we've discussed in the bodybuilding
Yeah,
world.
that's not steroids. That's,
Okay, so literally, I've never
No,
done
no,
steroids.
that's
I have
not.
no
Okay,
clue.
for example, like you know how Joe Rogan says, "Hey, Rock, why don't you just come out and say you're on steroids, right? You're taking stuff."
Yeah.
It's like a little bit like, what are you doing?
We
like,
know.
you Yeah, it's obvious. The people that have taken, they're like, "No, you're on something." It's
Yeah, they
very
know.
obvious. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's okay. Here's my position with it. Okay. You know how back in the days it was kind of like such and such smokes weed. Oh my God, smokes weed. He smokes weed. And then now it's like what? Such and such smokes weed. Okay, what do you want me to do, bro? Like you have a life. He smokes weed. Okay. They need to get over this fact that these guys are doing, like they need to legalize it already in sports. Stop it. Like absolutely stop it. What do you mean legalize it? You're saying that yes, they need to legalize, guys that are playing sports that are, putting their bodies through being hit, running nonstop. Yes, they need to take certain things that others are not going to take, like a Formula race car driver that's going 220 miles an hour. What do you think they're on to be able to handle that 2.5 hours of whatever they're doing? Their body's a different body. They're drinking Vault for sure.
Exactly.
Adderall.
No, but
Drinking
They
Vault.
take Adderall.
they take Adderall. Okay.
This right here, not gonna lie to you, when he discussed it like that, it made me think about some stuff. It made me rethink about the game and what we appreciated and the values of the sports and yeah, what they go through. But then, you hear stories about athletes paying $1 million to keep their body in shape, to actually compete and do what they got to do with people. And you be like, oh, okay. Okay. It's not easy to go out there properly, especially like hockey. Like I said, hockey, football. Them you see some big, strong guys, and they gotta be big and strong, lift weights every day, and eat right. So I mean, I'm just saying, y'all, when he said this, it shocked me, but it made me realize, like, just maybe, he's on to something. Not gonna lie to you, just maybe he's on to something.
So for me, yeah, do I think LeBron's on things? Yes. Why? Everybody that's ever been close to LeBron has said how shitty of a diet he has. He eats cookies, he eats everything. You know when people eat everything shitty and they still look good? There's a reason for it. You can't get away with eating shitty things. You could get away with it in your early 20s. You can't get away with it in your 30s, 35, 38, 39. Body changes a little bit. And no, hey, LeBron, let me tell you, he's always eating cookies. He's always eating ice cream. He's always eating this. And you look like that, fine. There's a part that you say genetics. The other part of it is maybe something you're taking with your body. All I'm saying is I don't have a problem with athletes taking it. I don't have a problem with it. They're athletes. They're playing a different game. They're taking a different risk. Race car drivers put different kind of fuel in their cars. You don't put that in your car. I drive a 93 octane, whatever I put in my car. You put an 89 or an 87. Oh my God, did you know Formula One? What kind of octane do they use in F1 or NASCAR?
They're
Tom?
exotic. They're like 115.
Oh my God, they're cheating. They have to put 115 octane in those cars.
So, like I said, y'all, that made me really think like, he's on to something, because I wasn't thinking like that. I did not think like that. I wasn't, no.
Families may be couples' biological or adopted offspring. Does this mean that the
This is live,
supporting,
I think.
nuclear families means that you support trans couples?
Yeah, this is live.
Gay couples adopting and spreading this rhetoric that you talk about.
So you're talking about the expansion of definition. So right now they've expanded the definition of woman to include biological males. This gets back into what I was saying earlier about the left controlling linguistics and just pretending that, okay, a nuclear family can now be two trans parents that are adopting a child. That is not the nuclear family unit that I am talking about. I believe that I am talking about marriage between a male and a female, which naturally and biologically produces children. So no, I do not take that new updated definition of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a nuclear family. Thank you for your question, though.
Hi, I've raised my hand before, so I just want to preface that I am, have opposite views, but I do want to have a genuine conversation without feeling belittled, so I do just want to preface that.
Yeah.
I am a feminist. I do study specifically academia and the structure of academia and what that looks like for people of color. So in relation to free speech,
Now, what has been known, I'm just going to throw this out here because people will be on one. What that girl going to class for and going to school for, she ain't going to make not a dime when she get out of school. That's the statistics of going to college for education like that.
do you feel that free speech is free for everybody in terms of Western society and the America that we live in today? And at what point does free speech no longer become free?
What do you mean? At what point does it become no longer become free?
Some rhetoric can be harmful to other communities, especially in the way that it's spread in the media, and I think that goes for both sides. But
can you give me an example? It's always easier to answer a question.
So what I know, we all are aware of what happened on campus last year.
I'm not.
Okay. Great, look it up. So.
Wow.
It was just involving the feeling of LGBTQ members of the community.
Wow. Okay.
Feeling unsafe with rhetoric that's being shared in terms of transphobia.
If you're a man, I need an example, and someone, if you're a biological man and someone says, hey, what's up, dude?
More of there's students on campus that are living in communities where they don't feel safe because of rhetoric of explaining that transphobia isn't accepted. So my question is just how do everybody in community?
Yeah, I mean, the idea that if somebody looks at a man and calls him a man, that they're suddenly unsafe because they've created a false reality in their own head. Yeah, I don't abide by that. I think this is what's really happening is that we are celebrating mental disorders in America right now.
If anybody, and that's what it really is. That's what it really truly is before she goes on and keeps going on with that beautiful speech. And that's just the beautiful statement of it all. I think somebody should put that on a t-shirt. I'm celebrating mental illness. We about to make mental illnesses a holiday. Bruh, you got National what is it? National Daughter Day, Mother Day, Daughter Day, Parents Day, Coffee Day, just so many different days to where, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's National Trans Day, National Queer Day, and Man on Man Day. This is Boy Day, and in between, and just so many, do we need all of that? Yet again, understand freedom of free. And I'm going to keep asking this question. I see this is my question to ask people over and over. I think this is my main question to keep asking. Is America too damn free? Where does it come a point of time where it's too much freedom being asked to where we got to say, hey, we can't do all that. You know what I'm saying? You have the right to be and do what you want in your home, right? As long as you bound by the rules, you're allowed to do what you want to do in your home. But then there's people probably going to say, man, you're not allowed to do nothing in your home. Everything is filmed and watched, and they always watching you and stuff like that. And okay, it is what it is. But if you're free to do whatever you're free to leave the country. Book your flight, you'll leave. Right, have a passport. People are like, what's the passport for? So they know what country you come from. So you can go there, come back safely. I don't get why people question why you got to have an ID to go out of the country when there's people in other countries that want to kidnap you and take you. And then if they don't have an ID or know who you are, how do they know what country to send you back to once they free you? And you probably dazed and been knocked across your head, probably got amnesia, some crazy stuff. I'm just saying.
I had a stalker, a very serious stalker at FBI ended up getting involved who had suffered from schizophrenia. He very much believed, and it was a terrifying thing to go through. He escaped the Psych 5150 hold, and he very much believed that he and I were in a relationship, and he would send me about 100 emails a day, okay? In the world of what you believe in your own head now needs to be accepted as reality, I would have had to marry him and raise my children with him, okay? But what was going on in his head wasn't actually reality. And me saying that this person needs to stay away from me and my family because there's something wrong with him and he was threatening to kill me if I didn't, raise my child with him, that was reality. That was something that had to be dealt with. So what's happened right now is the left is trying to make it seem that people who see reality for what it is are demented and are creating unsafe territory, and that's not the truth. In fact, what I think is unsafe territory is for people to be affirmed in their delusions. So I will never refer to a biological male as a female. And if that makes somebody feel unsafe, I'm not following you around. I don't know what happened on your campus. I wouldn't follow you around and say, hey, you're a male. Totally fine, go live your life as you want to live your life, but when you say that the way that you live your life now has to impact me and I have to pretend that I see a woman when clearly you are a man, I shouldn't have to play that game. That's all. Thank you very much. Hi.
Hello, my question is a little bit of a different speed. Earlier today you mentioned Patricia Cullors or somebody from the BLM movement, and you said that her only qualifying factors for speaking about different things and issues was because she was black. And during the White House hearing about white supremacy, you was on that, and a question was asked whether white supremacy is a threat or not. And your only qualification to speaking on that was being black. So what do you say to people that say you're being a hypocrite?
Yeah, so I didn't say on this stage that Patricia's only qualification was being black. I said that people gave her tens of millions of dollars, had no idea where it was going to go, and were happy to do it because she was pirating. She just kept saying Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. It was stupid. They lost their money, bad investment. Oh well, too bad, so sad. Regarding qualifications to speak on what's harming Black America, you just have to be able to examine actual statistics, right? Are you telling me, would you honestly say that when you walked into this room today, you were afraid that white supremacy was going to kill you? I asked this to Black people, to be honest. Are you afraid that a Klansman is going to come down the street on horseback and pick you up? Be honest.
I'm personally not afraid.
Okay, so that's it. So when I was speaking at the congressional testimony, I was saying, my experience being black in America, I don't know any black people that are fearful to walk down the street because they think a Klansman's going to come get them, right? But I can list you tons of black people that grow up in poverty, that grow up in the hood, that grow up around gang culture, that are fearful. When you examine black on black crime rates, when I was just talking about illiteracy rates, I said that I could list 100 things the black community is suffering from today before I got to white supremacy, and yet the focus and the emphasis in the school system has been to brainwash us to believe that white people want to kill us around every single corner, and I think that that's a harmful ideology because it doesn't allow us to actually focus on the things that we're suffering from. Number one, I would say is father absence. We need to.
I love talking about this at my job. When it comes to my black people, they be talking about the white man, and like they still preaching the white man, the white man, the white man. It really kills me. It's so funny. It's so the delusion of the delusion of the people that have the delusion, and it's sad to say that's true, and that's how people really truly look at things as the delusional way of looking at life. And I don't want people to look at life like that, and that is the biggest problem with us and society. On me, like I can't even play with you. I can't even. I can't. I won't. I refuse to. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm glad we ran into that story real quick before we get into this other story, because that natural way is what's the problem with America and the black community, is that we still looking at each other like it's the black man's fault. It's the white man's fault. When we don't look at the statistics of the crime rate, who's rate, bro, I have yet to see really a bunch of white people, whereas majority white people raiding the streets after a peaceful protest. And okay, I said it, raiding the streets after a peaceful protest. Okay. Now, to get into other stories or major stories, is this awareness of what's going on in schools. Are y'all aware of what's going on in schools? Are we willing to try to stand up to stop things that are going on in schools? And I'm talking about the kids with the books and these teachers that have got these little colorful flags in school, and they sitting up here and they're teaching your kids things that you don't want your kids to teach, or teaching your kids things that they don't need to be learning, and then they failing in the normal arithmetic, math, reading and writing, and social studies and stuff like that, science. They're failing, but they know about genders and they know about all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, is that really, really what's going on? And then you hear the answer, yes. Then you hear the answer, yes. I'm like, what are we gonna do? We need to do something. Um, can't talk about now. That's one thing I have yet to bring up at work yet, because I just don't know too many people at my job that got kids. I'm assuming everybody got kids, but I just don't bring that up because I don't want to start a riot. You see what I'm saying? But that discussion right here is really, really need to be brought up. Really need to be discussed. And yet again, the same podcast that I was showing you earlier with the LeBron thing, because I thought it was interesting with the steroids that's going on and stuff like that. But this right here about the books, the child pornography books that's going on, this discussion right here is very, very important. I will be trying to discuss this as much as possible before YouTube try to take me down. I want to discuss this talk because it was interesting. It was very powerful, and I think it needs to be discussed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to discuss anything and everything that needs to be discussed that goes on in America. It just need to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? People need to understand it and quit being so scared, afraid. I think I wanted to start doing this for real, because I had the gift of gab. But now it's not about the gift of gab. Now it's about giving the truth to people so they can understand what's really, truly going on. That's it. If you can take the time out and teach your kids how to love life and grow up, you need to take the time out to understand that these teachers, some teachers in school, are really raising our kids to turn out to be something strange, something weird, something else, a whole new generation of kids that aren't going to be able to stand up if we had to go to war. Okay? I feel like I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm trying to keep it real as possible so you understand the statute of where we living at. Okay? If you can go back to growing up in school where we got to learn everything and find out that our teachers was trying to teach us how to be a boy or teach us how to all be a girl, our parents would have kicked down the door. But see, what happened is they made a vote, and they voted this in slowly but surely. Once more people started catching waves, then they like, okay, it's time to move in. It's time to strike in the schools. I'm gonna let them discuss a little bit, drop some little knowledge, and then we're gonna get into it.
World and some people in the West are trying to get the Western ideas, not the Western conservative ideas, but the Western liberal ideas to people.
Let's start right there. My Democratical friends, associates, and co-workers out there will not admit stuff like this is from their party. Like, all my party is doing, your party, the Democratical Party, is doing it. When they say liberal, that's Democrats. I want people to really see that. And that's why when I ask questions at work when I talk about stuff like this and deep like that. I point things out like who is doing it. Quit saying white people. Who? Democratic Party. Democratic Party is ran by a bunch of blacks in and out of states and Congress and senators. There's a bunch of blacks everywhere. Everywhere. So don't say that they're not.
Around the world. And they tried to do a LGBTQ strike in Lebanon. I don't know if you saw the results, what happened there. This is what took place when they did a LGBTQ rally protesting in Lebanon. If we can just play this clip. It doesn't look like the people of the city were happy.
And so what these guys, those guys were protesting for the LGBTQ.
They're protesting for the LGBTQ community. So, so they're not too happy about it. And then I saw this other clip, and then I'll come right to you. If you can play this other clip. This is a...
Before they go to that clip, I should have paused it during the action. This is type of reaction I want from us. I'm there. I'm there with you. I'm there with you, marching head on strongly. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this is important to me. This is how we should be treating a community that is teaching our kids things and value that you don't believe in. When you think about trying to step up and do the right thing, and people always ask me, I remember a long time ago, people asked me, what are you trying to do? I'm bringing up the subjects and topics. I talk about it every day on my show. I wish I had the viewership to do it, but, understandable. I make things for the adults, kids. We smoke weed. This is the marijuana. I do it for the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I understand that my marijuana family is scared I share this out to YouTube 40 times a show. 40 times a show to the same groups that used to be rocking and popping. You know what I'm saying? With a bunch of weed heads, pot heads, you know what I'm saying? They be seeing, now they're going to start seeing these titles pop up and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Better titles and see the viewership, you know what I'm saying? See that, okay, man, that man be talking about some things that really matters to him. Oh, he be talking about it for 2 hours. Wow. You know what I'm saying? He really be talking about it for 2 hours. Yes, I'm really strong. This right here needs to happen. Okay? It really does. When you know it does, it does.
Book that's being sold, LGBTQ book for children, has a section titled How to Argue with Muslims, right?
Do y'all see that? Huh? Are y'all hearing what he just said?
Argue with Muslims. If you can click on this, go for it.
Muslims. And they want to be inclusive. How to argue with a Muslim. And this book is gay.
Wow.
How to argue with Muslims. Please, guys, get this out. Get this out.
Get this out. Get this out. Get this out. Get this out. Ladies and gentlemen, people like Michael, what do you be doing? What do you be doing? What do you be doing? How do you be contributing? How do you be contributing to what's going on in these communities? This is how I contribute right here, by showing y'all what's going on and not acting like it doesn't happen. That's what I do. I'm not famous. I'm little. I got many fans. I do it for free. I do it out of the kindness of my heart. I do it because I love this country. That's what I do. If somebody wanted to start marching. Like, when it was Choice for Las Vegas, I was out there. I was showing all the videos, all the rallies. I was doing it. Anything positive that's going in the right direction for America, I'm showing it off. That's what I'm doing. So when I discuss it with friends and family, Michael, what? Huh? Go back and look at my videos. Michael, you got videos? You didn't tell me. Yes, I did. I show them. I share them. I show them. I share them. All it takes is one click. I talk about real things. I understand people at work and you be bored. You have 30 minutes. Man, check out the show for 30 minutes. Just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Because I don't want to hear that I'm not discussing what's going on. Now, I'm going to rewind this so you can get a better understanding where I'm coming from. So you don't think that I'm playing.
And they want to be inclusive. How to argue with a Muslim. In this book is gay.
Wow.
How to argue with Muslims. Please, guys, get this out. Get this out for every single parent. I mean, this is not just a few books. This is a whole ideology being pushed on the children. And now they're told to argue with Muslims.
Wow.
You know.
You can stop it right there, Rob. Why are they doing this, Liz? Why is this happening?
It's a religious belief for them. It's an ideology. The term inclusion or the term tolerance is never something that they wanted. They never wanted just the right to be able to live with whoever they wanted or love whoever they wanted or even marry whoever they wanted. They've always wanted to force this ideology on us. There was a story out of California from last week where a student out there was suspended from school for 5 days for quote unquote misgendering. And I mean, that's not an isolated incident, but it does make it pretty clear that they weren't just the ideology of the LGBTQIA lobby is not just, let us live our lives, make sure that we're safe and not persecuted, that they want to force other people, especially Christians or religious people, Muslims, they want to force people to embrace that and celebrate that. Otherwise, they're going to be socially ostracized.
You know why a part of this I like is 74% of Muslims vote Democrat, till today, which doesn't make sense to me on why they do, but they do. You know, it's content like this that if the left is watching, just so they know, the Muslims are watching. We have a Muslim community that watches the podcast to know they're targeting your community, your denomination, your.
This is where I want to say, and pause real quick, and say, I'm talking to my marijuana community. Do I need to put up the legalized? Do I need to put up the weed? You see the weed? I'm smoking a blunt. I take dabs. What's up? I'm talking to my weed community, the potheads, the weed growers. I'm talking to y'all. I'm making these videos for us because we act like this stuff is not going on. And if you're in the weed community and you could appreciate that's going on, then yes, I am against you. I will admit that. I'm not feeling this movement. I'm not liking this movement. No, I do not. And I'm standing up for those who think that, this is cool, man. We teaching. No, this is not cool. This is not awesome. My black community. I'm black. Where y'all at? Huh? Is this really how y'all want to raise y'all black kids? Okay. Oh. I get it. Y'all been raising these thugs. You can't raise these thugs. So now you're going to soften them up by teaching them LGBTQ stuff. And so they're going to be soft. Then ain't going to be no more thugs. And then the violence is going to escape. The violence is going to go down eventually because they're going to be softened. Oh, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck with that right there. Good luck with that right there. If that's the movement that y'all are really trying to go in. Huh? That's the movement we trying to move. That's the reason why we doing what we doing. Because of this right here. Okay. Okay. All right.
Religion. They're targeting you now to explain how to do that. It's shameless at this point. Not only are they trying to go to Muslim countries to bring that ideology to their kids, at the same time, they're putting in the books. And it's more things to be thinking about to reconsider what way you vote your leaders, because the right is not sitting there saying, let's indoctrinate your kids. At least if there's one thing, like, I remember the tipping point when Joe Rogan and Elon Musk were sitting there saying, you know what, if you want to save the country, vote Republican. I just finished Musk's book that just came out, and there's a chapter where he talks about that time. I don't know if you're there yet, on where he talks about, okay, there's a part where he talks about, you know, you got to, if you want to save the country, vote Republican. Musk has been a left his entire life. I mean, his whole thinking has been about saving the environment. But now those policies, a lot of people that were on the left who have kids going to school going through this, they're experiencing it. Tom, what do you think about when you see a story like this? Both Lebanon and what, you know, they're putting in books on how to argue with Muslims.
Well, Lebanon, it just goes to show you that when you have a homogeneous, in other words, vastly similar, culture and crowd, when you come in with just a lightning rod issue like this that is so diametrically opposed, I mean, the majority, let's just say 1 to 10, the majority of the country over there is like about an 8 in their agreement and in their intensity. And you come in here like a 3, I'll translate the, what were they speaking there? Arabic?
Arabic.
I'll translate the Arabic for you. Get out of here before I bloody your other eye. It's basically, or before I take your head off. So you
I had no idea you spoke Arabic. That's
you're
impressive.
pretty
I'm
First
pretty
time
sure,
I found.
but I think my translation is pretty close. So on the first hand is you're kind of crazy whether if you were Jewish or you were Christian or you were Mormon, that to come in and to do something so, ostracizing on one side like that. You cannot expect that. It's almost like he's set in there to be a sacrificial lamb so that they can get the B-roll. Oh, this LGBT person is being persecuted in some other country. It's almost like it's a triggering effect. And then the book, I don't think they understand what they're doing.
He brought up a good idea that I didn't even think about. He just brought up an idea I didn't even think about that with that video could have started. Where we at? At 5:02. Let me go back real quick to the video. For real? We go back to the video. Y'all see this video? This is what's gonna start the homophobia in their country and be able to pass laws because this stuff like this happens. That's what they're gonna start. But if them guys stand up for what they want and stand on it, it's not gonna go nowhere. It's going to just continue to be who they want them to be. And that's what I'm talking about. And that's what they should stand on. He just said it. He just said it. He just said it. So be careful. Well, here it's too late. Here in America, it's too late. We so far gone, but that's why I just called out my marijuana community and my black people. Like, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? We out here doing this like this, and we acting like something else is going on. Like let's keep it real, bro.
That were peacefully protesting, and then it got really big at the schools in Glendale. If they thought that was bad, then show up in a real Muslim community with that book and wait what happens, because they'll come out of the woodwork. Muslims are not good with LGBTQ. They'll take you to a tall building and teach you to base jump.
Which is, you want to go first?
Well, I was just going to say, too, the hypocrisy of it. Liz, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. These books that they're pushing on the children, they won't even let fathers, like that gentleman in Texas, read the book out loud at a school board meeting because they're like, this is inappropriate. Think of the hypocrisy, Pat.
Oh, do you have that video? Can you play that? Find that video. We watched it yesterday.
Think about that.
The pastor.
The kids couldn't read it and digest this and live that life. But a grown man in front of all grown people, no children in there, he couldn't read the words that you're pushing on the kids.
Okay. This is the question. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And like, it's supposed, like, I don't understand the.
Is this against the law? If they finna lock up a preacher for talking about this in school to where he can't talk about it in school, well, you could, okay, I'm sorry, said it wrong. You can't talk about it in court. You can't talk about it in a teacher's parent conference meeting board. You can't do none of that. To where they're going to lock up a grown man. Shouldn't they be locking up the teachers that's having the kids teach that in school?
Ideology around.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do that make sense? Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you can't read that out here, okay. I'm going to be starting asking that question.
Around like how that's normal. The kids could read it and digest it, but we can't hear it out loud in public.
He's at a school board meeting saying, are we sure about this? Let me read it.
Yeah,
are we sure?
One of the books was called Flamer, and the other one was called Who Wants My Hot Wiener? It's like, when are we going to stop pretending?
Is it really called Who Wants My Hot?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not joking, Pat.
The book is called Who Wants My Hot Wiener?
I'm looking at it right now.
What part of that book is like appropriate?
Hold on. I'm telling you right now. Which your character asks, I'm sorry, Who Wants My Wiener? It's in the book Flamer. The novel is called Flamer, and inside he goes.
What's his name? What's the pastor's name?
The pastor's name, I don't know, it's a Texas school board meeting.
So what's really interesting while you're finding that, really interesting about that book is I talk about that book in my book because Randy Weingarten of the American Federation of Teachers, they partner with a book company that promotes that book in children's schools across the country. So this is not an isolated incident. This is something that's being promoted from the top down. Which you don't even have to be conservative as a parent to not want your child indoctrinated with that.
And listen, he asked this question like, I go in because I want to know the actual reason why. Is it because and all these elites are always preaching about overpopulation? Is it because all those kids, that whole community, aren't having any children? And that's just another method of us not having more people walking around sucking up all these natural resources. Bill Gates has always said the biggest problem to our humanity is overpopulation. And why not have a whole generation of people that don't want to have kids?
You want to play this clip real quick, and then Adam come to you. Go for it.
This book here, it's called It's Perfectly Normal for Students 10 and Up. This book details all kinds of sexual images, pictures of elderly people, nude, pictures of an individual who's in a wheelchair with his out. All of these sexual graphic images are made available and placed at the fingertips of children. This is immoral and asinine to allow children to be able to see this.
It's not this one. Pause this one. Play the one I just texted you. It's not this one.
Because the next.
But I'm glad they played that. That's an important one too, to show y'all to even show it on there, they had to blink it out. That's amazing. They had to blink it out. You blur it out. You can't even see it.
This one, Pat, he's reading it, and they kick him out, Pat?
No,
How bad is that they kicking you, that a child book, hold on y'all, a child book,
but go ahead, Adam, until he finds
a child book on the internet has to be blurred out. I couldn't even get it out because I had them talking for a second. But that is the craziest part of it all, bros. To see that a child's book, understand that a child's book is being blurred out on the internet, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitch, on Twitter, on any national, except for maybe Rumble.
L, the G, the B. Then there's the T.
Yeah.
So someone's sexual orientation, gay, straight, in America, I don't think that's any of our business. Now, when they start getting involved in the kids, or when you're starting to get into hormone blockers or pre-puberty blockers, and the T specifically, that's the biggest question. I think we've made major inroads to accepting gays in America, and the problem that I see in this Lebanese video is that they're condoning violence, which is basically hate crimes against someone different from you. And Tom made up a great
That's over here.
All right, where do you draw the line? All right, so you're Jewish. All right, we know what's happened to them. Christians, we know what's happened to them in the Middle East. Where does the line stop? You know, the famous poem, first they came for the gypsies. I wasn't a gypsy, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for the Jews. I didn't say anything. Then they came for the Ukrainians.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then they came for me.
The silent
and
German citizen.
No one was there to say anything. So as much as I'm like, hey, I understand the agenda that's going on here, specifically in the T community. What is a man? What is a woman? Well, it's been pretty freaking clear forever, but that's being different. But gay people have been around forever. Lesbians have been around forever. So it's a little disconcerting to see what's going on specifically in Lebanon. Final point, you know, it's kind of like the Lebanese versus the lesbians. We all know that the Middle East, I think Lebanon is the angriest country in the world.
Yep.
Literally. Turkey's number 2. And then Armenia is number 3. Shout out to the Middle East. But going deeper in Lebanon, like if you want to go, you know, the C word, you know, that whole word, that there's a bigger issue at play here because...
Man, I understand what's happening over in Lebanon. I think for as the school, it needs to happen. Hey. Black Lives Matter, they let them ride the street. Black Lives Matter, they let them ride the street. So why can't it happen over here that we really stand up and don't let our kids get indoctrinated?
They've been trying to elect the president for a year. There's political headwinds going on. There's economic major crisis going on. And some say that the people of power, especially the right-wing extremists, are using this attack on the LGBT community to basically divert attention from the real problems that are going on.
And that situation right there, obviously, nobody here obviously condones any type of violence with anything. If you're gay, nobody cares. But notice, Adam, look at how crazy that we've gotten right now. That attitude there, which I'm not condoning, but you know what that's called? Nipping it in the bud. Because once that's
yes,
then it's the
yeah. But see, a lot of people was quiet. A lot of people didn't know. I ain't gonna lie, y'all didn't know until it was too late. Because y'all don't know what you're voting for. There's no black young person out there trying to educate people in politics. Don't no black person want to know nothing about politics, to know things about what you're voting for. Don't nobody in the pothead community want to know anything about politics. They don't want to know what they voting for. That is facts. That is facts. I talk to my people at work, my crew, and it's like one person that really be on his politics stuff, and I'm like, damn, he really be knowing some shit, and that's shocking to me.
What they stand for. They're straight up. This is us.
Yep.
You don't like it. You can take me to jail. You can do this. You can do that. I'm not sitting for something like this. I want you to watch this video. Play this clip real quick. Because this is the one.
It's called It's Perfectly Normal. I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's it becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's becomes erect, stiff, and larger. Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Can we, sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in the school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? But you don't want me to read it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it? If you don't want to hear it, why should the children have to see it?
Pastor, your time is up. Thank you.
Oh man, I love that guy.
Thank you, Jesus.
This is why Liz.
Bro, this is crazy. Are we really allowing this to really truly happen? Huh? Are we really allowing this to happen? The reason I'm playing this because Liz goes deep, and I've been waiting to get to this point to where Liz go deep off into the science and where it comes from, and that's the part. Like I like the video I played where there's a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to go back and strategy. I think I put that up. What is a woman? Because we go over the movie and stuff, the things that we learn. Dog, you learn so much when people take the time out and do the research. And that's what I'm saying. And when I seen this earlier, I was like, I have to share because she has the knowledge. And don't nobody like this. Ain't nobody up on this. Nobody's up on this.
Liz's book is so important because it is all about the kids.
Yeah.
Right? Like my biggest thing with the alphabet mafia, specifically the T stuff, is two things. It's stay away from the kids and stop grown-ass men being in women's sports. I don't think that's too hard to ask. You have a child.
I
right?
do.
And I know that's a major concern of yours. But once someone's 18, they can make their own decisions.
I mean, to a certain extent, I would probably argue that that's medical malpractice since it's not treating. You can identify however you want. You can't force other people to.
I'm not saying identifying.
I want to comment on the Lebanon video. I want to comment on the Lebanon video for a second because there's a reason that that's going viral in the United States on social media. It's because that doesn't often happen here in the United States as the LGBTQIA lobby. And I understand your argument separating the two, but for all intents and purposes, gay people and lesbians and bisexual people have not disconnected themselves from this lobby. You can argue that the transgender lobby has latched on to what they have accomplished, but they haven't severed that and said, hey, we're going to be separate, except for the what are they called, TERFs, the trans exclusionary radical feminists.
Yeah.
Who are
Never even heard that.
Who are like the lesbians that are like, wait a second, all of our women's rights are erased if there's transgender stuff. But the reason that video from Lebanon went viral here in the United States is because that's actually very uncommon. And the other side, the LGBTQIA lobby, wants us to think of any criticism or any parental objection to the graphic stuff being taught to our children. They want us to think that that leads immediately to violence. But let me tell you about one of the things that I had to read in the course of researching this book. This was the most disturbing thing I ever read. And we all work in the news.
Ladies and gentlemen, right here. I want y'all to get your pen and paper out. Okay. Get your knowledge. This is where this stuff takes place. This is why specifically I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys. Couldn't wait.
We read disturbing things all the time. I read the founding document of queer theory, which is just like we learned a couple years ago that when black children are told they're oppressed and white children are told they're racist, we realized, oh, that's the principles of critical race theory, right? We saw what was being taught before we recognized what its origin was. Well, the same with the transgender ideology, the stuff about gender being a spectrum, being disconnected from biological sex, that you are what you identify. That's not just a random assortment of nonsense. Those are the principles of queer theory. It's also a neo-Marxist theory like critical race theory. So when I'm writing about this, I thought, well, I should read the founding document. I should read the source documents to see what they believe, what they want to happen, what they want to teach children, what their goal is with this theory, because this has become so prevalent in the last really 8 years since 2015. So I pull up this document. It was written by a woman named Gail Rubin. She's alive and well in our country today. She founded some lesbian bondage clubs in San Francisco, but she's in academia now. She wrote an essay called Thinking Sex, which, like I said, is the founding document of queer theory. And in this document, she not only lays out these principles that gender is a spectrum, that you can be a boy if you want to be a boy, she actively defends child pornography. She defends
She defends child pornography.
outright pedophilia.
Outright
and tells people that
pedophilia.
we as a society, yeah, there it is, thinking sex, that we as a society will regret imprisoning the, quote, men who love underage boys, pedophiles, within 20 years, and men who love underage youth, and advocates for the sexualization of children. So what we're seeing in the school classrooms when we see these graphic books, this is their goal. It's not inclusion. It's not tolerance. It's not, oh, your sexual orientation doesn't define who you are. You're much more than what you're sexually attracted to. This is their ultimate goal. And if we don't listen to what they say and believe them, then our children are going to be...
Liz, thank you for pointing this out. I had Rob real quick just find a picture of her / that guy. So that's a her? What is that?
Yeah, she's a lesbian.
woman.
Yeah, this is a woman. Gail Rubin.
Is this a born
Can we see
female,
some
or
other
is this
images
a
of this?
male that's
Why does that picture
No,
look like she
she's
works
female.
at McDonald's? Go back to that picture.
With the vest?
Yeah.
Blue shirt?
Does it not look like she's at a fast food restaurant?
I mean, if you didn't tell me straight up that that was a woman, there's a high likelihood I think that was just a fat, ugly dude. Sorry.
And she's not even transgender, to my knowledge. I mean, go back to the Thinking Sex
She's
essay and look up
74 years old. So
look
she's
up what they say about child pornography.
February 1977, shortly after the Dade County vote, a sudden concern with child pornography swept the national media in May. Chicago Tribune ran a lurid 4-day series with 3-inch headlines. Rob, if you're on it, I actually can't read it. Yeah, 3-inch headlines which claim to expose a national vice range organized to lure young boys into prostitution, pornography. Which section do you want us to read?
It's a little bit further down.
Go a little down.
She excuses this. She makes it seem like that this is a witch hunt against people that possess this, so that's their First Amendment right to possess images that depict the sex.
Okay. We're fin to hear a argument or a reasonable gesture of why people should be touching on boys. Now, I can't wait to tell people that I did a show and y'all really need to go watch it. And it's really disgusts me that we got to this point right here. And this is how it starts. I'm saying, y'all, when things are getting voted in and we don't know where it comes from because we so into love and hip hop and power and stuff like that we don't care about stuff like this. We just want the newest strain of weed, what weed can get us high. I love smoking weed too. That's why I smoke weed with y'all on this show. So don't get it twisted. But this right here is going to be disgusting.
Sexual abuse of toddlers and children.
The laws produced by the child porn pandemic are ill-conceived and misdirected.
Well, just to be clear, Liz, because I want to...
They represent far-reaching alterations in the regulation of sexual behavior and abrogate important civil liberties.
Like you have
A civil liberty to possess child pornography?
Hardly anyone noticed as they swept through Congress and state legislatures, with the exception of the North American Man-Boy.
Swept through legislation. I'm just stop it right there because this is what I be talking about, bros. When it comes to a point to where we got to wake up, dog, and start understanding what is being pushed through. This got pushed in, not during election. This got pushed in probably every other year that election didn't go through because it made sure that people don't pay attention with election. We know people do not pay attention to elections. And this is what I'm talking about right here. This is the prime example right here. Prime example.
Love Association Americans.
Which, by the way, is a pedophile. It's a lobbyist for pedophile.
Pedophilia, or it's not. They don't call them that anymore. It's minor attracted person.
That's just their way of sanitizing. But is this
minor attraction person? The Rittenhouse case, which people still think a white kid went up across enemy lines and kill 3 people. I still argue with people on that debate, and it has a whole court case. It has a whole court case filmed, and I still argue with people about that. Okay, so, and I brought that up because one of the person that he shot and killed was one of these people that they're describing right now that preys on little kids. So y'all gotta understand that this stuff a long time ago. When I don't even know how to explain it, because like, to understand like where it come from, how it came, how this ruins countries is in the Bible. Like, yeah, let's go there. I went there. I was trying to be nice and see if there was a better way for me to try to explain it. But yeah, man, this is in the Bible. This is how a whole, what, Rome was a city or something, crumbled because all this weirdness and stuff started coming in. I don't want to be around when other countries decide to take over America, because we have this going on and we're so blind and so weak to not take care of our country. And people will argue, oh man, that will never happen. How? We're so distracted on teaching our kids to be whatever type of sexual entity, mental disease, as they put it, mental disease that he wants from birth, that it's okay to be a mental disease patient. That's not cool. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not equal. That's not looking forward to futures, when we need to be making men for the future and women for the future. Not making people cross and intersect. I feel like America's trying to be the first biggest Jurassic Park. Okay? We're trying to make the brand new species. All right? We're trying to make the theme part of all theme parks, because, hey, come see us over here in America. We just make a new species every other week. Wait till next week. We got the brand new little itty bitty, I don't know, troll or something. Like, come on, man. Like, we really need to wake up and understand that this is really nasty and disgusting. And yeah, we need to pray. Just like for real. We need to pray, because it's getting out of hand. I understand how my auntie be like, your generation need Jesus. That's not my generation no more. You know what I'm saying? We need to learn how to vote.
Shocking to you?
This is absurd. Should be illegal. This is disgusting. All iterations of that. You saw Sound of Silence, I assume?
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom?
Yes.
Okay.
Sound of Silence Part 2.
I was like, no, I didn't. What is that?
Silence of the Lambs.
We're going to go back to Simon and Garfunkel.
Sound of Freedom.
Hello, Silence, my old friend.
You know,
hello, Clarice.
Was a
Hard
very
to watch.
impactful movie, very hard to watch.
Again.
I don't think, other than these actual freak shows, nobody's advocating for anything with minors. I actually just found out recently, because of Russell Brand, that, you know, the average age of consent in the United States? It's actually 16 in 35 states. I had no idea. Okay, because he was accused of doing something.
That was in the UK that he was accused.
Correct. So I went down the
Rabbit
rabbit hole. And
hole.
I said, it's actually not in the UK. Now, I'm not trying to hang out with high school girls, but in most states, it actually is 16 in the United States.
Right, but that's not what they're talking about here.
I'm fully endorsing that.
The books that that
Look at
guy
that.
was reading from, those people are academically and ideologically in alignment with queer theory. It's not just, oh, this is some freak show paper that I pulled from some random academic. If you look on her Wikipedia page, she is credited as writing the founding document of queer theory. That's what this is. She's like the Kimberly Crenshaw or Derek Bell of critical race theory. Like, she's the origin of it.
You know, the thing that you said, hey, I watched them beat these guys up, and then boom. What was the quote that you were saying? And Tom kind of finished the quote with you.
First they
Ukrainians.
came for
blah, blah,
the
blah.
gypsies,
Okay.
then they came for the Jews.
What about coming
Actually,
for the children?
that quote applies to what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
What she's saying is, you're like, wow, give me a break. It's just they're gay. It's just they leave them alone. What's the big deal? And da 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 da. And then all of a sudden you get married and you have kids, and your 3-year-old kid comes home one day from school and she's like, wait a minute, no, I'm putting my foot down, and then it's too late. So the
Yes.
part that,
Yes. Obama, when he took office, just leave him alone. No. We should have stood up to Obama. No, Obama. We don't want that. We don't want that to go down as your legacy, black man. Hell.
the people who are experiencing this pain the most, and I want to go to the next story, but I want to say final thoughts here before we go to the next story. We're going to get a chance at the end as well for you to kind of tell us more about the book. I wanted to start off with the story, and Rob, let's put the link below for people that want to buy her book. You can go pick up her book. The link will be in the description. Here's what I was thinking about the other day. When you watch strikes, who typically strikes?
Okay. This is the second point that I wanted y'all to listen to and take notes on, because this is something I never thought about either. And that's another thing I'm going to start doing too, is try to find solutions to stuff, that things. But this is a thinker, a real good thinker. For real.
See the workers, right? Union workers, United Auto Workers go on a strike. Writers Guild, go on a strike. Actors go on a strike. Right? All these workers going on a strike. When have you seen parents go on a strike? I don't understand this. I'm telling you, I have a suggestion, parents. I'm going to keep talking about this until somebody takes the lead on this and screams it off the top of their lungs, and then they do it. I would love to see a 1-month parent strikes 1 million kids in America for one straight month.
Pull them out of public school?
Pull them out of public school for 1 month.
Yeah.
And what I would do is, out of those million kids that are being taken out, find out how many of those kids' parents are teachers, okay, where parents can actually teach a certain course, Zoom. So what you need to do is 1 million divided by what? Let's just say it's 1 million divided by how many kids per Zoom. How many Zooms can we have per classroom?
They do group homeschoolings, like 15 or so, when it's like you teach politics to 15 homeschoolers.
So let's just say 20, okay?
Yeah. Good
So
number.
1 million, 20, it's what, 5,000? Is that how many we need? Is it 5,000 or 50,000? We need 50,000, right? So if you got 20, you got 50,000 parents, 20 to 1. If you got 50,000 parents that say, I'll teach a class for 1 month, no problem. Why don't we do that? Okay, you take 1 month of your salary, say $4,000 a month, $6,000 a month, $5,000 a month, no problem. We'll fund it. You go take 1 month off. Parents, if you're that upset about this, why don't you take a 1-month strike? Okay, flip it on everybody else. It's kind of
That idea right there, like I said, I never would have thought of no stuff like this, or probably would. I'm gonna say I wouldn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would never thought about that. But this is a good idea. This is a grand idea. I gotta find a way to make videos and cut this up and spread this out, because this is beautiful and ideally smart, what we probably need to do as parents to stick up for our kids and give them the proper resource and say, look, we don't want this. I would have never thought of an idea like this. If somebody come up with a better one and I catch the video, I'm going to play that too. But this right here is the number one starting of a good idea that legitimately can happen.
constantly the workers going on a strike. How about for once customers going on a strike? And here the customer is who? The parent. Yep. Parents taking their kids to school is a customer. Okay, parents, why don't we go on a 1-month strike?
In a sense, a lot of parents have been doing that. I mean, the number of homeschoolers in the last 3 years have tripled. There's
Yeah, that's
5 million homeschoolers compared to.
But you're talking about like a month movement,
No.
like a child pride month, where everybody we shut it down.
But what the homeschoolers are doing is they're making a choice to protect their families. They're not doing a rally cry for others to join a strike type of a thing. To do a strike, it's got to be a unified group coming together saying, guys, for the month of November, we're taking 1 month. We're taking our kids out of school for 1 month, okay? And come join our homeschooling or come do something like this. 1 month,
Yeah, that's
let's
dope.
get out. Let's show America
What's up?
how united we are. And then let's bring the governors of those states to a place, a hearing. No, you have to listen to what's in the book. No, you have to hear what's going on. No, we are not putting them back in school until you change it. No problem. Hey, you know what you did, government? Here's the biggest mistake the government did. And by the way, let me tell you why I believe this is possible. Do you remember when companies like Twitter came out and they said, well, you know, at Twitter, we have made a decision. You can work from home for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, shit, that's guy's terrible idea. I just say that. You should have never said that. Please come back. Well, you said
I
we
meant
can work
4 days a week.
So what happened was what COVID did, the best thing COVID did, COVID taught parents we can actually homeschool.
Yeah.
COVID was actually terrible for public schools to realize, holy shit, if these parents realize they don't need us, we're going to be in deep trouble. Yeah. Well, guess what, parents? You don't. Why don't we do a 1 million kid strike, okay? 1 million kid strike for 30 days, and then let them feel the pain. Then they have to adjust. Schools are going to be like, wait a minute, where the hell are these kids? We can't be doing something like that. We're not hitting our numbers. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. And by the way, well, you know, what if it hurts their GPA? What if it hurts this? What if it hurts that? At this point of the game, quite frankly, as if going to college was the same value it was 30 years ago. The same thing they were teaching 30 years ago is the same thing they're teaching today. If you ain't doing STEM anyways, why do you care about it? Let's really disrupt the educational system. Unless if your kids are not going to become a doctor, a lawyer, a engineer, this, that, forget about it. Let's do this. Let's get them to realize you're in charge, the people, and then let's get some movement going.
If you really want to save it, you have to get your hands dirty, because think about it. If you can't read the book out loud at a school board meeting, or you can't go to a school board meeting without the FBI labeling you a domestic terrorist, I say this all the time. It's time to fight fire with fire. We got to get dirty. Get dirty.
Here's the thing. We have to have an objective, though. If we do this, it can't just be a protest. There has to be a concrete change that we're able to articulate that we want to happen in the schools, or else it'll just very quickly fall back. And let me tell you this. This was so interesting. So public schooling in our country wasn't even mandatory until 1852, which isn't that long ago. And the reason it became mandatory, Massachusetts was the first state to make it mandatory, and it became mandatory because there was an influx of immigrants to our country at the time, particularly Catholic immigrants, and the Protestant politicians in charge of Massachusetts wanted to indoctrinate these immigrant children in American values, so they'd be loyal to America first rather than the country of their birth. And they wanted to indoctrinate them in Protestant values because of the centuries-long battle between Protestants and Catholics. And I was researching this as part of my book, and I realized, well, our education system actually is intended to be an indoctrination center. We think of indoctrination negatively just because of what the left is indoctrinating, but it's actually a very nebulous, morally neutral concept. It depends on what's being indoctrinated. But sometime between when it became compulsory and now, Republicans lost sight of that and started treating it as this neutral institution where we just teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. I would argue that when you have children under your care for 8 hours a day, there's no way that you can just interact in a value neutral way. You are going to be imparting some kind of values. And if we are going to do something like a million parent or a million child strike, we have to call for fundamental changes to the education system, which means taking it back to teaching American values and Judeo-Christian morals. Otherwise, if our values aren't predominant in this institution, the Democrats' values are going to be.
We wouldn't tell people to take a strike for the hell of it. Obviously, there would be an agenda behind doing something like that. But what I'm saying is this definitely, hopefully, needs to try to happen. This is something beautiful and intelligent and can go somewhere. And like I said, when I seen it, I had to share this with everybody to show my support and thinking like, yeah, man, this really needs to happen. This definitely something needs to go down. I think so. I hope you think so. You know what I'm saying? It was very important to me that I share this out. And I think that, yeah, hell yeah. We need to spread the word. All right, y'all. It's almost that time, but I still got one more story to hurry up and follow up on before we get up out of here. Okay.
Hold on, y'all.
Then paralyzed the House of Representatives today. To whose benefit? People have called you a narcissist. People say that is to your benefit alone. Is it to the benefit of you and to Donald Trump?
It's the benefit of this country that we have a better Speaker of the House than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word. He made an agreement in January regarding the way Washington would work, and he violated that agreement. We are $33 trillion in debt. We are facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. We face a de-dollarization globally that will crush Americans, working class Americans. Kevin McCarthy is a feature of the swamp. He has risen to power by collecting special interest money and redistributing that money in exchange for favors. We are breaking the fever now, and we should elect a speaker who's better.
So if not Kevin McCarthy, then who? Then who?
You said last night that Steve Scalise was a name that you floated to potentially be speaker. Where do things stand right now? If not McCarthy, then who?
Well, the stages of grief, I think, are in progress right now with some of my colleagues. I think there was a stage of denial, and I've certainly experienced a good amount of their anger, and now we appear to be headed toward bargaining. I think the world of Steve Scalise. I think he'd make a phenomenal speaker.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about the drama that is going on in the Washington, D.C. Congressional High School. Congress, right? What's going on in Congress, okay? Because sometimes it feels like high school, okay? And the drama that is playing out on Capitol Hill is the breaking news that Kevin McCarthy has been officially ousted as Speaker of the House. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm honestly slightly surprised by this, okay? And the reason why I'm slightly surprised by it is because I thought that Kevin McCarthy would make a backdoor deal with Democrats to remain as Speaker. However, that was not the case, and you actually got quite a bit of Republicans to vote to oust Kevin McCarthy. Now, I believe they only needed 5, okay, assuming all Democrats voted to oust McCarthy. Again, they got 8, okay? The final vote was 216 to 210. So here are the 8 people that voted against Kevin McCarthy. Andy Biggs of Arizona, Ken Buck of Colorado, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, Eli Crane of Arizona, Bob Good of Virginia, Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Matt Rosendale of Montana, and Matt Gaetz of Florida. Now, I want to get into this, okay, because Republicans are frustrated, okay, and Democrats are basically just sitting back and watching the fireworks explode in Congress, okay, but I want to give both sides of the argument here, okay? I'm going to play a couple of arguments on the House floor in support of Kevin McCarthy and then those against Kevin McCarthy. So the first up is Jim Jordan, okay, who a lot of people think should replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. However, he seems to be uninterested in the job, okay? He was uninterested in the job when it first came up, and he still seems to be uninterested. Now, he's going to go ahead and make his argument for why Kevin McCarthy should remain Speaker. Take a look.
Oversight. We have done the oversight that we're supposed to do. Because of our oversight, we know that parents were targeted by the Department of Justice. Because of our oversight, we know that 51 former intel officials misled the country weeks before the most important election we have. And because of our oversight, the Disinformation Governance Board at the Department of Homeland Security is gone. Because of our oversight, the memo attacking pro-life Catholics has been rescinded. Because of our oversight, unannounced visits to Americans' home by the Internal Revenue Service has stopped. That happened under Speaker McCarthy. And on the third one, on this side of it, we know there's a big old ugly bill coming at the end of the year, all kinds of spending, all kinds of garbage in it. We're still in that fight. Frankly, to Matt's point, we don't know how that one's going to shake out. But we do know this. We do know this. On Saturday, we didn't take the Senate's bill. They tried to send over and shove it down our throats on Saturday. We didn't take that bill. And it was a tough position he was in. There were 5 options on the table last week. Option 1 was to send a long-term CR over there that would have leveraged the 1% cut, something a bunch of us voted for, both parties. Couldn't get the votes for that one. Second option was to focus on the one issue the country now is completely focused on, the border issue. We couldn't get the votes for that one either. But when the Senate tried to send us that bill, he said no to it. I think the Speaker has kept his word. I know my colleagues and friends are saying different. I think he has kept his word on those 3 things that we talked about on January 3rd, and frankly, that entire week. He has kept his word. I think we should keep him as Speaker. I yield back.
I've been getting paid over $10,000
Damn.
per month in passive income from YouTube just for this.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Jim Jordan, okay, who, again, a lot of people respect. They want him to be speaker. Apparently, he really does not want the job. So he's defending Kevin McCarthy. Now, Matt Gaetz responded to Jim Jordan and his other colleagues defending Speaker McCarthy by essentially destroying their arguments one by one. Take a look.
Is recognized. Yeah, the problem with my friend from Ohio's argument is that many of the bills he referenced as having passed are not law. We are on a fast track to an omnibus bill, and it is difficult to champion oversight when House Republicans haven't even sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden. So it's hard to make the argument that oversight is the reason to continue when it sort of looks like failure theater. My colleague says we've passed the strongest border bills in history. Well, guess what? Look at the border right now. We didn't use sufficient leverage in the debt limit or in any other thing to actually get results on the border. The border is a disaster, really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on, that you fixed the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you've got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility. I'm real glad you guys didn't put work requirements on Medicaid. It probably would have resulted in Medicaid expansion. And when it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have, oh, boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have borrowed against the future of our future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans, $10 and $20 and $30 at a time, and you all keep showing up at the lobbyist fundraisers and see how that goes for you. I reserve.
Boy.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, Matt Gaetz is standing by his guns. Okay, he's standing by his guns. And again, that eventually led to Kevin McCarthy being ousted as speaker. Okay, and there's a whole lot of drama that has to unfold now because they have to select a new speaker. Now, we're going to talk about that and what that can mean in the possible scenarios there. But first, we have to talk about some of the reactions after Kevin McCarthy was ousted as speaker, as we got Chip Roy up front. Okay, he is a member of the Freedom Caucus who actually has endorsed DeSantis. He actually decided to go against his Freedom Caucus colleagues and vote to keep Kevin McCarthy as speaker. And this guy was very upset, super upset. Sounded like he wanted to fight, okay, after Kevin McCarthy was ousted as speaker. Take a look.
Some of our brothers and sisters, particularly in the, MAGA camp, I think, particularly enjoy the circular firing squad. You want to come at me and call me a rhino, you can kiss my ass. Look, I've spent a lifetime fighting for limited government conservatism. I have laid it all on the line. I've not seen my family but for 2 days in the last 30 days. You go around talking your big game and you thumping your chest on Twitter. Yeah, come to my office and come have a debate, mother. You know why? Because I'm standing up for this country every single day. And Steve, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to go to a nunnery. Because God damn it, there were people who were buried over in Normandy who deserve us to stand up for what they fought for. So that's what I'm going to do. And all of you fuckers out there who are out there saying what you're saying out on social media, you stick it. I'm going to go down to the floor and do my job, and I'm going to stand up for the people who fought for this country. And I'm going to do it the way I think is right for the people that I represent. That's what I think. What happened to a country where we can't even have order? You want to know what Ron DeSantis should be talking about as being the governor who can restore order as president of the United States, just like he's done repeatedly with hurricanes slamming into Florida. I don't want to keep playing the games, all this. Let's go play all the games because somebody's been indicted 12 times. And what did they do? Look, we got a governor that won by 1.5 million votes, won 62% of Hispanics, won 50% of single females, has been kicking butt, and could actually do the job of restoring order in this country and forcing the change. And what are we doing? We're going around in this like parade of personalities and celebrities and cult. It's absurd. And so I'm not going to do it. I'm not. This is not about personalities. What I'm going to do is keep laying out what I think we need to do to stop that little girl from getting trafficked while we're pissing around in this godforsaken town.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Them's fighting words, okay? Now, I believe that he's directing that more towards the people on social media who have an issue with, I guess, him, not going along with everything that, the America First movement wants, even though he's in the Freedom Caucus, okay? Like, for example, I mean, he endorsed Ron DeSantis for president, okay? He just basically endorsed Ron DeSantis again, which is, it's fine. I mean, he's, more than welcome to have his own opinion, right? But apparently he getting some backlash, okay? And again, yes, he did vote to keep Kevin McCarthy as speaker, despite leading the charge against McCarthy to become.
If he's correct, not saying if he's not, but when you endorse the wrong person, the people that voted you in office don't want you to vote for Ron DeSantis. They want you to vote for Trump, probably. And they hit you up on social media because that's where they can get at you. That's where they're going to hit you the most, because then your lobbyist people, hey, you might not make the votes and you can't do what I want if we need. Hey, it is what it is. Hit you where it hurts where it hit you.
Speaker in the first place, okay? So that leads me to another Republican by the name of Tim Burchett, who is a surprise vote no for Kevin McCarthy. And apparently one of the reasons why he decided to vote no for Kevin McCarthy is because allegedly Kevin McCarthy mocked his faith during a phone call with the speaker. Take a look.
Who do you think might have the votes to be Speaker of the House? Because in order for you to proceed on a mature fiscal path, as you're saying, you need a leader. Who? Tom Cole, Tom Emmer, Steve Scalise. Who do you think might have the votes to lead your party and the House?
All three of those would be excellent choices, and I think they can do an excellent job. They're honorable men, to me at least, and they've never openly mocked me anyway, and they sure as heck have always kept their word to me. So, and there's several others that have whispered in my ear during all this, and of course I don't want to out them. I understand that they have to keep their secrecy about them, but there are several milling around that are very interested in doing this. Another, Mark Green from Tennessee is somebody that people have been talking about. So there are several out there that people are talking about.
I'm sorry, but I just find this so shocking. What exactly did he say to mock your faith, sir?
It really doesn't matter. It was just the fact that I'd publicly stated on your station, I think this morning, that I was praying about it, and I was, I had two paths to go, either go with my friend or go with my conscience, and I was praying that God would tell me what to do, which he does. My daddy fought in the Pacific in the Second World War, and he talked about prayer a lot, and the Burchetts are praying people, and so I asked God to show me what the right thing to do is, and I'm not proselytizing to you, I'm not trying to save your soul, but that's the path I go down on a lot of bills. I pray for my wife, I pray for my daughter, I pray for my enemies, I pray for the speaker, I pray for this president, and when things come up, I pray for his son. And as a Christian, that's what I'm supposed to do. But when someone mocks me like that and mocks my religion, and honestly, the Bible's pretty clear about God being mocked, so that's what sealed it right there for me. I said, this is not the quality or the character of person that I want as Speaker of the United States.
Yeah, I can't understand that at all. Do you expect that before you go to bed tonight, sir, that you'll have a new Speaker?
I have no earthly idea, brother.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Apparently, in a move that I think is just not really smart, okay? Kevin McCarthy mocked God or mocked this man's religion doing a phone call in which I guess he was trying to whip up votes in his favor, right? And I guess maybe Kevin McCarthy being, maybe the egomaniac that he is, okay, a lot of these people are, maybe he made some type of sarcastic remark in response to the congressman saying that he would pray about it, right? I'm going to pray about it, and I'm going to let God decide what is the best thing for me to do in regards to voting. Again, I can imagine that Kevin McCarthy may have said something snarky in response, thinking that he's entitled to be speaker. Okay, and
this is interesting. I just wanted to, I know my boy, I like showing his videos off because he always got the sauce always, always has the sauce. Always. Appreciate that, young man. I always appreciate somebody that has the sauce. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I'm going to get up out of here. It's been chilling with you guys. I appreciate everything y'all have done. Appreciate y'all chilling with me. Till next time, y'all have a good night. Peace.